A long time ago, before the land was rearranged, there were some big scary creatures that would put a shark to shame. And oh, I didn't see you there. That was the end of my poetry slam about scary prehistoric creatures, which reminds me, that is today's video. Hey most amazing fam, my name is Abby, and today I'm bringing you top 10 scary prehistoric creatures you are glad are gone. So there is enough scary stuff constantly going on in the world already, and we just don't need these creatures on top of it all. Also, things used to be huge. Like, land-dwelling beings can only get so big without their bodies collapsing in on themselves from the weight, but there were some big creatures out there, and their looks, not something you would want to run into, I can tell you that. Also, getting into science. For a while, academics and scientists thought higher oxygen content and greater land masses were the reason for larger sizes of these land-dwelling animals, but that isn't totally confirmed. The scariest things may have been bugs because they were too massive, but I just don't want to get into that today as well. Today we have some sea creatures, some snakes, and a sloth, and a little bit more. And because these are sciencey names and I will mess them up for sure, make sure to stick to the end for some bloopers. Without further ado, let's get started. Starting us off at number 10 is MEGALODON, a shark. Alright, I know I said these would put a shark to shame, but that means we just have to start with a shark. This is the big one, you know what I'm talking about, the MEGALODON. So its size was 40 feet minimum and a maximum of 50 to 70 feet. For comparison, a bus is 45 feet long. So it's way bigger than a school bus. Some estimates say the MEGALODON ate 2,500 pounds of food a day, and that included fish and whales. Their teeth were built for breaking bone, and their jaw was so strong it could exert a bite of up to 40,000 pounds of force. Yeah. While the great white shark of today targets the soft underside of prey, the MEGALODON probably went straight for the chest to pierce the heart and lungs of its prey. While there is no proof at all that the MEGALODON exists today, as there are larger whales and creatures like that thriving, there is also no evidence that definitively points to its extinction. So I'll leave you to do your own research on that one. Investigate. You never know. At number 9, we are staying in the scary waters with BASILOSAURUS. So, BASILOSAURUS means king lizard, and this is odd because it is a fully aquatic mammal, but it was given the name when it was thought to be a reptile. While it is too late to change its official name, I propose we call it a snake. Hopefully the cute name lessens the amount of fear running into one would give me. So the BASILOSAURUS lived around 40 million years ago. It could grow to 60 feet long and probably swim like an eel because of its tiny little flukes. But don't let the little flukes fool ya. It was the largest meat eater of its time. Look at the teeth on that thing. I bet it could have swallowed a submarine whole, honestly. Just all of these I wouldn't want to run into. I'll probably mention that more. Yeah. Moving on to number 8, PTERYGOTUS. So ever wonder what a distant ancestor of the modern day crab was like? Well, get ready, because it was a giant water scorpion over 12 feet long. They were around 420 to 400 million years ago. Their remains are mainly found in Europe, but some have also been found in North America. So this crabby guy was probably an ambush hunter waiting for its prey and then striking. It was capable of really fast bursts of speed and would use that skill in its attack. It would tear apart victims and then force the meat into its mouth with its mandibles. It is also said to have the stinger the size of a light bulb, and it's at the end of its long flat tail. I can't even deal with scorpions in real life, or crabs for that matter, and those are really small, so needless to say I'd be done for in this case. Plus it's like more than twice the size of me. I'd just be done. At number 7, we have the LIOPLEURODON. About 150 million years ago, you could have run into this guy. It was a huge, carnivorous marine reptile that lived in the seas that used to be over Europe. They were an apex predator, about 7 meters long and weighing in at over 3,000 pounds. Its head looks like a dinosaur-crocodile mix, but as its forefins show, this beast roamed underwater. Their teeth are what I find the most gnarly about them. They are sharp and jagged and look like they could absolutely shred through anything, including me. Yeah. At number 6, we have AMBULOCETUS. So it's a prehistoric whale that was amphibious, and yes, it had arms and legs. And if you're like, what, a whale with arms and legs? That is what I thought too, but this guy was evidence of a transitory period between land-living mammals and whales, aka proof that whales evolved from land creatures. That's why they're mammals and they breathe air. Boom. So AMBULOCETUS was the size of a male sea lion and most likely remained solely in the water and fed similarly to crocodiles. As in, they probably killed their prey by holding it in its jaw and either drowning it or thrashing it in violent motions. Fun. If you run into a crocodile, punch it in the nose or like put your fingers in its nose so it can't breathe, and then it'll let go so it can breathe through its mouth. Pro tip. On to number 5, MOSASAURUS. So this one is known as the lizard of the Meuse River. It got the name after being the first specimen found near that river. It lived in the seas of Europe and North America, and it lived 70 to 66 million years ago. It caught fish, birds, other marine reptiles, and even sharks. It had a second set of teeth that latched onto their prey to ensure that they didn't get away, and it was just under 60 feet long on average, so huge. At number 4, we have ZYGOPHYSETER. So this one was like a sperm whale or a killer sperm whale. It had a bulb like a beluga, most likely that would let it do echolocation, like one of those jiggly melon heads. So as a prehistoric predatory whale, it had teeth in the upper and lower jaws, which is unlike today's large species like the sperm whale that just have the teeth in the lower jaw. The teeth were also rooted deep in the jaw, and they had a cone shape, which is one of the hallmarks of being a predator. Therefore, ZYGOPHYSETER probably went after large and powerful prey. So imagine this roaming the waters, and you think it's a whale because its body looks like a nice chill animal, but then you see the face and it's nothing but teeth. Boom, it bites into a smaller whale and then a shark, and that's just absolutely wild to me. When I think whales, I think cute, fun, but no. Not this one. At number 3, we have a giant ground sloth. And I know what you're thinking, sloth? Giant one would be pretty cute. Just like the one in that video where it gave someone a flower. Oh, a gift. But not this big one. The Megatherium, or giant ground sloth, lived in South America about 10,000 years ago. It weighed up to 4 tons and was about the size of an elephant. Yeah, picture that. While it was a leaf-eating lovely herbivore, it still wasn't safe. Just take a peek at those claws. And while there are depictions of it with fur or hair, since we associate that with sloths, they were most likely hairless. Like elephants, with mass comes more heat, and these giant ground sloths were probably prone to overheating. And to do that, they had to become hairless, and they probably looked a little bit like a sloth if you mixed it with a hairless cat. Moving on to number 2, HELICOPRION. This was a shark-like, eugenodontid, holocephalid fish. All those fancy words are to say it had this scary looking tooth whorl. They are clusters of teeth coming out of it, and it was basically a tooth factory. Scientists had to make guesses on the anatomy and behavior of the animal because they didn't recover a full fossil of the being, which makes sense because it lived in the ocean so long ago, 290 million years ago. Today the closest living relative is the chimera, and that is a creepy looking fish too. But lastly, at number 1, we have the TITANOBOA. So the anaconda pales in comparison to this bad boy. The TITANOBOA snake lived deep in the South American jungle 60 million years ago, and thank goodness. It would snap a victim's neck in half with just one swift move. And what was the victim this creature found? Anything it pleased. It grew up to 50 feet long with a ribcage that was on average 2 feet wide. It could eat a whole crocodile if it wanted to. The muscles around the ribcage were so strong they could crush a rhino. Also, while scientists aren't sure how it killed, they agreed on one thing. It ate its prey whole. It stayed in muddy waters most of the time, where its brown skin would camouflage it nicely, and it also probably stayed there because it weighed so much the force of gravity could cause it to suffocate under its own weight. And that is all I have for you guys. That was top 10 scary prehistoric creatures you are glad are gone, and which one do you think would be the worst to have around today? Or the best? Let me know down below, and while you're down there, make sure to give us a like and subscribe and ring that notification bell to be notified anytime we post. Also make sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram for more most amazing content. Talking about more content, there are a couple of life's biggest question videos on what if many of these didn't go extinct, so if that is piquing your interest, make sure to go check it out. I know that they have at least one on the LIOPLEURODON and the TITANOBOA. I've been your host Abby, and until next time, don't get stuck in the past. Bye! And because these are sciencey names and I will mess them up, already messing up. Sneeze snake. I wonder if people get the Critical Role reference. Read between lambed living mammals and whales. I said lambed? Like a lamb? As if a lamb was just being like, I'm a lambed living mammal. Lammals. It caught fish, birds, other marine It caught fish, birds, other marine